Hi, everyone. So today I want to talk about revenge and what is the best revenge as an ex-Jehovah's Witness. So when we're hurt by others, it's often the human reaction to hurt back. You feel angry, there's feelings of revenge that bubble up. And this is part of the initial process when you're first shunned or disfellowshipped from your community of family and friends. And some of you out there, I know, have experienced this firsthand, like I have, being from the Jehovah's Witness organization. So you're hurt, you're in pain, I get it. But looking at the definition of revenge, the act of inflicting harm or hurt on someone for an injury or wrong that's suffered to them, this harming someone else just feels like an archaic and barbaric type of reaction. And also reminds me of the quote, "An eye for an eye will make the whole world blind." Now, I remember when I would walk through the mall, after I wasn't actually even disfellowshipped, but when I first left my husband, there was, if you saw other videos, won't go into it too much, but when I first left my husband, there was this whole, I didn't even know this was going on, but people were judging me from the congregations that I must have done something wrong because I moved away from our home, his and my home together. So there was this assumption that it must be her. When this was going on, and I was just I was starting to fade out, which I wasn't even real. I didn't even know what fade out really meant at that time. I was just needing space. And so I wasn't going to meetings because it was just a whole lot of stuff that I was dealing with. So I remember though, that when I would walk through the mall and I'd pass someone that used to be a friend from the congregation, and they'd meet my eye, but they'd either quickly look away or they'd give me that disappointed stink eye, like, we're really upset with you. And at first it's shocking, when it first happens to you, where you're just like, hey, that's my friend. Like, what's going on here? And it's maddening that somehow, that someone who used to be your friend, that they would actually do this to you when you haven't done anything wrong. Like, it's confusing. It's what I started doing when this would happen. I was like, no, I'm not going to change. Like, I'm not going to look away just because I'm scared of them giving me the stink eye. So I said, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to meet them with their eye and I'm going to smile. I'm going to say hello, like I always have done. Like, this is just my personality. I'm not going to change that. It takes a lot of courage. It took a lot of courage. But damn, it felt good. Felt really good because I didn't want to change my natural reaction based on someone else's choice of their behavior. So I don't reward bad behavior by acting or reacting with bad behavior. And so from this mindset that I developed, I started developing the idea that as an ex-Jehovah's Witness, my revenge would be my living well and my happiness, living my best life. So after a year, after I faded out, I got divorced, I moved across the country. I ended up creating a life statement and kind of like a mission statement that's basically summed up as living well, laughing often, and loving much. And I actually got a tattoo at that time that spoke to this type of life statement as well. So with those three main statements, that's moved me forward in my priorities and my perspectives on life, just processing a lot of that through, knowing that I'm going to love, laugh, and live well. Those are my three main things that everything basically sums it up. And that's my starting point, and everything flows from there. So one of my favorite quotes that I adopted to myself came across around that time, which we're looking at about 14 years ago this year. So, and it goes like this: happiness is the best revenge because nothing confuses Jehovah's Witnesses more than to see you, an apostate, smiling and living a good life. So your happiness is the greatest revenge against those people who would love to try to bring you down, or who think they're disciplining you because the organization has convinced them to do exactly that, to shun you. So living a good life really is the best revenge to me, because once they realize that so this could be exes, could be people that have shunned you, bullies, bad bosses, they're all in that group of people. Once they realize that you're living your best life and they can't touch you with their angry stink eye, their discipline, whatever they're trying to do, bullyishness, they can't ruin your happiness. And so when that happens, they lose their power over you. So I've experienced the effects of having this mindset. For instance, when I visited my grandma last year, she stated a few times in surprise tones, because I hadn't seen her for a few years because she had disassociated herself from me for a length of time until she, we did reconcile last summer. I'm thankful for. She died in December, if you've seen my previous videos. So yeah, so she apologized. So we did reconcile and all this kind of thing. But one of the things is what I was getting to is that the mindset that I have of like, I'm just going to be me, I'm going to be my better me than I've ever been. And that's my mindset when I'm always trying to grow to be a better person. So when I visited my grandma, and she actually was in surprise tones of saying like, you look good, you look happy, like she was shocked. I was just so happy inside. And I was just like, well, if my outside is reflecting my inside like that, then I'm doing really well. So being a former Jehovah's Witness, I know that it's expected and it's taught from the organization that when people leave the truth, they aren't truly happy. They can never be happy in Satan's world. So, and it's just a false sense of security, false sense of happiness. I mean, that's what we were always told as Jehovah's Witnesses. This is how I know my life is lined up properly to who I am as a person, because I don't feel angry. I don't feel hatred or any vindictiveness towards the people that were in my former life as a Jehovah's Witness. And I hope they do wake up at some point, but really that's their choice. It's their junk, it's their choice. What we choose to believe in and how we choose to treat people, that's all a choice. So, and just as it was my choice when I finally left and faded. So I've also found that having an attitude of tolerance helps immensely. And remembering that everyone should be able to choose what they believe, even if their lifestyle and opinions differ from yours and they don't line up with yours, it's still their right. And lastly, this may sound weird to some of you, but when thoughts of former friends and family that are still Jehovah's Witnesses, when those thoughts come up and you start kind of reflecting, and what I do, I send an intention of love and good thoughts to them. And I'm thinking from the good times that we did have together, because you shouldn't always just think about the bad things. There were good things. And so I think of those things and I send them good intentions, because I don't want to sit and dwell on this. And this helps to not get stuck in that negative zone of feeling sad, despondent, and angry. So I do hope that they do wake up one day, like I said, but if they don't, that's totally fine. That is their choice. So the bottom line here, live your happiest and best life on your terms. It's the best revenge. And so you're free, live with that freedom. You're so lucky to actually use the free will that we've always been told about as Jehovah's Witness, but we never really understood what that really was until after you leave. And it's a wonderful gift. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for being here. And that's my message today. Live your best life. That's the best revenge. So, and if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and please share your comments. Love them. See you next time. Take care. Bye.